it's crazy you just brought up the movie Scream. I was taking a phone call in my backyard on Saturday night. And
face was back there?
I was looking at the back of my house in the dark with the lights on in certain rooms. And just the way my house is built, it looks like the Scream house, like the opening
Where Drew
scene.
Barrymore is in the back?
With Drew Barrymore running through.
Yeah.
But I was trying to focus on the call, but I was just looking at it like, this is freaky. And what made it even crazier is Joey, my 3-year-old, went up to the window because he knew I was out there screaming, crying. So he's just got his mouth on the window yelling. And I'm looking at it like,
something terrible's happening.
Well, my life is a horror movie, so it kind of fit it.
Oh, welcome into Scoop City on a Monday. James Palmer here with you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, please. We will love you forever. I have Dianna Russini, the Athletic Senior NFL Insider, with me. I have Chase Daniel with me, 14-year NFL vet. We have the band back together on a Monday. It's perfect. We're going to get through a lot, guys, in the next roughly an hour. We'll see how much we have to gab about, but we have an emotional first victory for the Jets. We have Jordan Love beating Aaron Rodgers, as well as mentor. Well, what does that do for the Packers? We'll get to that and their Super Bowl chances. And then also Bo Nix and Sean Payton just dismantled Jerry Jones in what Sean Payton called it the Battle of Arkansas between the two ownership groups, the Walton Penner ownership group and Jerry Jones and his group. How is everybody doing? What a day. What a day is Sunday. A lot of blowouts, not a lot of nail biters, but we're starting to see a couple of things. How's everybody doing?
Good. Happy to see the Jets get a win, man. Like, especially after everything that we heard their owner talk about and the unfortunate news about Nick Mangold. That was the one game where I put it on my main screen and was like, feeling like I was rooting for them. You know, like, come on, you can do it. Nothing against the Bengals, but that team needed it for every reason, in the world.
100%. I feel like it's been forever since I've been on a Monday, and it's because I've been calling games on midweeks on Tuesday. So my midweek game is Wednesday this week. So glad to be back.
Oh, glad to have you back. And we have the quarterback back with us. Let's start off with some chit chat about the old quarterbacks. Dianna, I need you to run through where things stand on a couple of starters, hopefully returning in week 9, whether that is JJ McCarthy, Lamar Jackson, or Brock Purdy. Please tell everyone what is the latest with those 3 injured quarterbacks. Will we see them in week 9?
Yeah, I think we already have the theme for week 9, which is all the quarterbacks that you just listed are on target to return, right? And a lot of these have been quarterbacks that we thought were going to be back for week 8, right? Brock Purdy, we thought JJ McCarthy was kind of always up in the air. Lamar Jackson, right? Like we even talked about that last week. We thought that this past weekend was going to be the time when he returned, but they obviously chose to go with Tyler Huntley. So the one that stands out to me is Brock Purdy, because I know the San Francisco 49ers had week 8 circled as the game that they wanted him to return. And they decided to go with Mac Jones here because, again, this turf toe that fortunately for him wasn't as serious as the one we saw with Joe Burrow and didn't need the type of surgery that Joe had, which is the good news, but it's this pain management. And it's from the way it was explained to me, it's like he has good days and bad days. One day he wakes up and it's good. The next day it doesn't feel great. So again, this is another example though, where the hope is for week 9, but we got to see how the week of practice goes, Chase.
So he might not even play. This is the most intriguing team to me because he came back and he played and they lost or whatever. And then Mac Jones then came back and their whole quarterback room has been hurt. Their whole team's been hurt. What's sort of the quickly, because I think this is the most interesting team out there right now, just because there's been no Purdy. They've been hurt. What's sort of the state on the 49ers franchise in terms of what are they believing in the locker room?
I think they believe, but I think they're realistic. Like that's the sense I get from talking to people there of, look, they're going to fight. They're going to try. They know they've got Christian McCaffrey. They've got hopefully Brock Purdy soon. But they've been decimated this season. Yeah. And credit to some of the defense stepping up over the past few weeks and keeping them in these games with, if you think about it, not a lot of superstars. but the three of us know you can't sustain it. It's going to be too hard, right? You got to rely on the play calling of Kyle Shanahan. That's what they have in their corner, but there's only so much he can do,
Yeah, for sure. It's just interesting.
It's exactly. It really is. I'm going to be looking at them, Diana. I know you are. You saw them. They weren't able to get after CJ Stroud this past Sunday. Getting a pass rusher is at the top of their list, it seems. Can they help out that defense before the trade deadline? As the offensive side of the ball will have some of these guys coming back. They need Ricky Pearsall to get healthy, as in practice. Juwan Jennings has always been banged up, and Ayuk, I think his window is opening, right? So maybe they can get some help on that side of the ball. I did like, with Kittle coming back, they ran the football better when he came back 2 weeks ago. But that Texans defense is no joke. The way they are offensively, they weren't going to put much up against that Texans defense, which is outstanding.
That was nice to see them, right, James?
Yeah.
That was Houston. They've been like me all season.
I put a thing out and Chase commented on it on social media where I was like, how are the Texans 2-4? They're giving up 14.7 points a game as a defense. They're 2-4. We haven't seen that in 25 years. Now they kind of put something together a little bit offensively.
It's sort of what happened last year with their offensive line. Their offensive line wasn't playing really well. And then they play against San Fran, who was decimated by injuries. And they only give up a 22% pressure rate for CJ Stroud. So when CJ Stroud has time, right? And look, they're Colts are running away with that division, but when he has time, he's a different guy. So see if that continues.
We'll see. All right, let's talk about the quarterbacks. Let's cut to the chase here. Let's start with Chase's favorite quarterback to talk about, Jalen Hurts. Those 4 touchdown passes, 38-20 dominant win over the Giants. It felt, Chase, like they were getting some explosive plays in the run game. That felt like 2024 a little bit. That's where they got a lot of their explosive plays. That helps everything out. In the last 2 weeks, and now they're going to be, that was coming off their mini bye, and now they're heading into a bye. We'll get to that in a second. But he's 34 of 43. That's 79% for 505 yards with 7 touchdowns, no interceptions. I ask you this, Chase Daniel. Is Jalen Hurts now entering the MVP conversation?
Oh man, come on! I don't think we're quite there yet, but I do like, because I have heard some people, I'm not going to mention them, that have said he's entering the MVP race, but I do think that he's playing really good football, and I think the biggest thing with him is that they are mixing up their play calls a lot more to really feel comfortable. So Jalen feels comfortable with what they're doing, and that's just new offensive coordinator Ken Petula, getting used to what they're doing. And then this guy Saquon Barkley, the dude played unbelievable and finally gets those explosive runs, because when you can run the football, and this team has not been able to run the football going into the game, I think they were 30th or 31st in rushing yards per game. And so when you can run the football, it just opens up the entire field for Jalen. And you see Jalen here in empty, they're starting to do more of that. They're starting to get under center. They're starting to call play action run game shots down the field. And when stuff's not there, he's checking it down. But the biggest thing, James, in this stat line that you're seeing underneath, let's see if I can get it right there, is that 20 attempts. That's where they should live. Maybe a little more, but no more than 30 attempts. And when we talked about it, and I know we said it again, but I just want to bring people back. Last year, they started 2-2 before they reeled off 17 of the 18 or 19 of whatever the heck it was. They started 2-2. Jalen Hurts was averaging 36.5 passing attempts a game. That's not what they are offensively. They are a run-first team, take shots down the football field, which Jalen Hurts does. And now they're starting to get into that sort of 20 to 30 passing attempts a game. And by the way, they did this. Now, I know the Giants defense isn't great, specifically coming off that Broncos 30-something point fourth quarter loss. But they are finally getting into a rhythm, and they didn't have their top guy, but they're able to do this, and they're able to run the football. And I think the key to the offense has always been Saquon Barkley. So can he get going? Can Jalen continue to do this? So I wouldn't say MVP late, but his numbers, like you said, 7 touchdowns, 500 yards passing in the last 2 games. That's sort of where you want to be.
Yeah. Chase, it's remarkable how Saquon Barkley really is the straw that stirs the drink in Philadelphia, right? And he has to carry literally a really big load in order for this team to have success. And look, I understand protection's part of it, and the offensive line is crucial for this Eagles team, but it is so obvious to us watching that when the run game is on, everything else opens up. I think the version we saw in Philadelphia is the version that they want to be. That game is
without AJ Brown. Is that what they want to be?
No, I think, which I just found out that was, I didn't realize it was a thing. That's like a thing right now where there's people out there who believe that the Eagles could be better without AJ Brown, which is insanity.
Who is saying that? Who is saying that?
I mean, weirdos.
So many Chase wants names. Chase wants
names.
Chase, I do want to do this with you and James as well. Okay. I'm not saying that the Eagles offense is better without AJ Brown. We all collectively know after Lane Johnson, AJ Brown is probably the best offensive player, correct? You'd all agree?
Saquon's in there.
You would put Saquon there. Okay. All right. Well, so I'll say neck and neck just to call it even.
Hey, let's debate about 3 outstanding players. Maybe all the best at their position.
I never do this.
How talented the team is. But go ahead.
I do think they're at an interesting place in their season, right? Because we've got AJ Brown, who, when I spoke to sources in Philadelphia, they've told me unless it was a blockbuster deal, something just that would blow them away, they are not moving AJ Brown, right? I think they are really trying to put this thing to bed. We're not moving him. We need him. But then you have the player side of it. And you don't have to be an insider or even a really big Philadelphia Eagles fan to know he is not happy based on his captions, based on his body language. And even just doing some reporting on it myself and reaching out to teams that are watching the Eagles, I've had people say to me that AJ Brown's frustrations are valid from a identity of what this Eagles team is.
Oh, heck yeah.
AJ Brown is frustrated that he is not part of it consistently, right? Like that's
absolutely.
He wants to be in the game plan all game long, not just when they need him. So what does this mean then for the future? Is AJ Brown going to be satisfied enough with collective wins as a team without him being a big part of it? That's what I'm curious about from the player perspective of, can AJ, as wide receiver 1, the superstar that he is, that comes with all the things that come with AJ, is he going to be able to stay in Philadelphia happy? That's what I want to know. And Chase, is there a version of Philly where you think they can feed Saquon and AJ Brown?
I mean, yeah, there's a version, but
can Jalen Hurts do it?
Here's the thing. That's what I was going to say. So here's the deal. AJ Brown wants a quarterback like Joe Burrow or Dak Prescott or one of these guys that throws the ball 35, 40 times a game, and he's getting 10 targets a game minimum. So he's got 160 to 170 targets on the year. That's not the offense that the Philadelphia Eagles run. They will never run that as long as Jalen Hurts is the quarterback, because Jalen Hurts, while throws the ball well in certain spurts of the season, he's not, I would say, as talented arm-wise as the Josh Allen or the Mahomes. Now, the stats, those are great, but I think AJ Brown sort of knew what he was signing up for. And then I would agree, like, sometimes as a quarterback, it can be really difficult because you feel like you got to make your star receiver happy. You got to feel like this. And now it just feels like Jalen just running the offense. And yeah, look, you do have to force some balls AJ Brown's way, because like Andy Reid used to always say, and same with Sean Payton, it's like, hey, it's players, not plays. And so when you need a play, you go to your best receiver. I will say, though, AJ Brown's a little bit like you're not going to see him like running these deep cross routes away from people. He's an outside guy that's running hitches, that's running slants, that's running go balls. And I don't know where the separation part of this whole thing is, but sometimes those receivers, like I remember when Justin Herbert was throwing to Mike Williams. Mike Williams was never really a separator in terms of speed or size. Now, AJ Brown's a much better route runner and a better receiver just in general, but it was hard for Justin at times to be like, well, they're just sitting on a hitch route. They're just sitting on the slant route. Like, we got to do some more stuff. We got to move them around. And AJ Brown can do all that stuff. But it's just interesting to me that, one of the best receivers in football, we're having this conversation about it. But like, who's going to want to give up all that and have him come in, and he's a diva, and you got to feed him, and you got to make him the number one. Like this,
yeah, it definitely.
Are we talking this season?
Which is why they don't want to move him, right? Like they think they can manage him, right? This is something I spoke to Jeffrey Lurie about, even in regard to Nick Sirianni's ability to just get him to keep AJ happy. And Lurie even said to me, like, we all meet with AJ to try to calm him down and explain to him. But I wrote in my column this past week, and I know you guys read it, but for those that didn't, I'd asked a defensive coordinator that faced them this year what he's seeing from AJ. And he said Hurts struggles against the zone. That's when AJ goes MIA. There are times it looks like Hurts doesn't fully trust what he's seeing, so he checks it down and plays it safe. It's either a deep shot or a check down, not much in between. The timing is just off, and you can see on the field that they're not communicating, that Jalen and AJ are not talking on the field. That is a big deal to me when I hear that.
Oh, it's a huge deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And Devonta Smith is not as vocal as AJ Brown is, but you have to figure he's probably dealing with some frustrations too, although he's getting the ball a little bit more in some scenarios than AJ. So I don't know. I have belief in the leadership in Philadelphia that they can manage it. I just don't know what it's going to look like if people are going to be this unhappy.
Well, it's all going to come back to AJ Brown, right?
They have a track record of managing it. I mean, that's there, right? Kind of. I mean, we've seen them manage it.
Look at last year.
Assume that they have the ability to do it again. I think if the run game continues to get better, AJ's going to get pretty good looks in the play action game.
Correct.
Jalen Hurts keeps getting underneath center. I would say in this last game or two, if you talk to people there, he saw in the intermediate a little bit better progress, I guess, and where it's at. And it's a difficult situation for everybody involved. Devonta Smith is a 1, guys. That is a number 1 wide receiver on 95% of the teams in this league. He is so good. So this is the difficult problems that the Philadelphia Eagles have. We have too much talent, and we have to make sure we keep all of.
So I have a question for Dianna.
Sure.
So what? Sorry, James, for interrupting. But what are you saying? Like, are you saying that like we should be looking at AJ Brown like as a trade candidate this year? Are you saying like maybe next year? Or like where are we at?
Yeah,
that was the world's biggest tease.
No, I wasn't trying to be a tease. It was more like, yeah, of course, Philly's going to talk in the offseason if this is going to work, right? They have to. You can't go through this every year. If you're all in on Jalen Hurts, which they are, Jalen's going to win every conversation, debate, conflict. That's how it works. The quarterbacks win. And if AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts aren't on the same page, then maybe that's a conversation they have in the offseason. Philly does not want to move him. Let's just see what happens over the next 2 weeks, just in terms of how AJ Brown handles it, how his camp handles it. Right? Like, we've done this, so we see this all the time. So it's something to watch.
Yeah. Also, by the way, guys, when they need him, he wins games for them. He closes out games for them. He does those things. And I think they want to win a Super Bowl. They're not going to move them. Listen, the picks that they could get moving them at the deadline are the same as the picks they would get before the draft if they end up doing something after this season. So he's not going anywhere now. Good point. We'll see what happens after this season. All right, moving on to Drake Maye. I hinted at the little, and I wanted to poke the bear a little bit of chase with the MVP and the Jalen Hurts. But the way Drake Maye is playing right now, 32-13 over the Browns. We're going to look at a little film here, but to start us off, Chase, I was fascinated by this stat with Drake Maye out of the gate. In week 8, he becomes the second player under the age of 24 to have 200 passing yards and 100 passer rating in 7 consecutive games. The only other guy to do it, Patrick Mahomes, won the MVP in his second NFL season, first year as a starter there. It's just been a consistent sample size now of accuracy, ball placement, deep shots. They're borderline handoffs right now. Just tell me what is working right now with Drake Maye, and why is he playing at this level so quickly in year 2?
Yeah, I mean, it's the coaching. It's Josh. Like, Josh is just doing a phenomenal job at Daniels, and it's always interesting to me to see, like, Dianna. I mean, you dig into this. The same with you, James. It's like, hey, what makes a really good play caller but not a great head coach? And that's exactly what Steve Spagnuolo is. That's exactly what Josh McDaniels is, and that's totally fine. Like, that is cool. And then when you watch it, it's just like, man, they're starting to add more to the offense that reminds me of like the Tom Brady days, to where he's getting more at the line of scrimmage and checking and doing this, because it is like when I say more like the Tom Brady days, I'm saying like there's a lot more that they've added to their offense in the past couple of weeks in terms of play action, shot plays. No one is really throwing the ball better down the field right now than Drake Maye. And then they're doing like these, like, I'm just saying, like, I see some plays from the Brady days. Now they don't have, I don't think, the receivers that Drake Maye has, but James, you said something with Patrick Mahomes. And I do think that Drake Maye should be the front runner for MVP, because I saw this stat too, and I thought it was fascinating. But most consecutive games with 200 plus passing yards and 100 plus passer rating within a season. Anyone who's done it more than 7 games, okay? Mahomes, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers twice. You know what those guys did in that season that they did that? Every single one of them won the MVP. Every single one of them. And so you've got to start talking and putting in, not just because of those, like stats are good. It just sort of backs up the conversation. But with what you're seeing, like there's just no way in my mind that the Patriots are the record that they are right now without Drake Maye. Like I can clearly say right now that Drake Maye, because Jaden Daniels has been hurt, so it's hard to understand, but he has been the best second-year quarterback. And quite honestly, it's really not, I say close. Like I think Bo's had flashes, but just the consistency level since Drake Maye started playing whenever it was last year to now, like we have a very good sample size, and it's impressive, man. It really is.
I got to tell you, when they hired Mike Vrabel, I don't know how, at the time, I remember thinking that Josh McDaniel was the safe hire, that this was the familiar choice, maybe to appease ownership, maybe to make Vrabel feel comfortable because he knew Josh knew the lay of the land. Like I had all these theories in my head. So to start from the top here, what a great call by him hiring Josh McDaniel. I think people think they have a really they had like a really close relationship that they didn't, which I learned that at camp this summer. They know each other. They weren't like, they're not like friends. They weren't communicating, over the last few years as buddies, that stay in touch. Not at all. So I like that. I like that they made the right call here. And even just in the summer when I was around these two, Josh and Drake together, like they both just had a relationship already established in the summer that I could tell like it's working. They live in the same neighborhood. They're like one of those, those stories of always like the OC that lives next door to the quarterback. Like they have all these little, they have these little things already, these little inside jokes. Like they were even like telling me to tell the other, like, and I know that sounds so dumb, but I think that shows that there's a connection. And you see Drake Maye in all these interviews, and he's all aw shucks and Southern charm and just a little innocent at times, and not necessarily the personality of the head coach. That this is where I think Josh is awesome, because Josh can kind of help build him and connect with him in a different type of way. I think that's a highlight that we need to make in terms of just call it big picture. Just the hire was smart.
Yeah. Chase, let's do a little film here. Let's break a little something down here. Do it. 22 on Drake Maye. How about that?
Yeah, I love it. Look, this play is great because, a lot of teams do this from under center. Josh McDaniel said, hey, let's get in the shotgun, and you're going to watch up top. It's a double move, so it's a dagger and go. And just sometimes when you call this play so tight, and I say it's the 39-yard line, you have to get this ball up and down really, really like fast. And just the drop, the pocket awareness, the clean pocket, the fact that he's just staring the free safety down the middle of the field, you'll be able to see right here. Like this is just one of many throws where the ball is just so effortlessly thrown, and it just lands like perfectly right in the receiver's hands. And it's just one of the, I mean, I could have shown you 15, but we got rights issues here, but like, there's just, that's how they do it. And it's just been impressive to watch, because I do think, like, at least for me, the most surprising thing of Drake's Maye game has been his deep ball accuracy, and the fact that he's willing to throw the football down the field, and the fact that it's schemed up really well. It makes sense to me. It's a half field read, all this stuff. So kudos to Daniels, kudos to Vrabel and Drake Maye. And then just, you gotta imagine, like, are they the front runners in the AFC East? Like, are they going to, unseat the Bills the way the Bills are playing? They haven't played a tight schedule, like all this stuff. I just think it's something to be, thinking of.
both got right against the Panthers recently. Both
True.
Yes,
the
true.
Patriots
Very
and
true.
the Bills.
Right.
The Panthers
the
are your
Patriots
get right
schedule
squad.
is a doozy. So yeah,
what you're
they have
saying-
that work. New England has that working in their favor. Just the difficulty of the schedules. It's a pretty light for the rest of the year.
Certainly true. He came into this game, Chase, with a perfect passer rating on balls over 20 yards. So I think that's a pretty good deep.
There you go.
With a perfect passer rating on balls down.
You just
the field,
come with the stats. I love it.
Which is incredible. Hey, I'm trying to run the ship here. Let's do what we can. Keep us on.
I love it.
Listen,
I didn't even know that.
Moving on to Justin Fields. What a week. What a week for Justin Fields. Listen, we'll get into the week, but an emotional win. Diana said it at the top of the show with Nick Mangold, maybe one of the most favorite Jets players of all time. Put him in a small group, just a small group of people that are just worshipped by this fan base. And Nick Mangold, a Buckeye, so I loved him at Ohio State. He was there when I was there. 41 years old is just way, way, way too young. Just absolutely gut-wrenching for this team, this organization, and you kind of felt it in this game. And Diana said at the top, we watch these games. In this game, I think all three of us were rooting for the Jets, and you're rooting for Justin Fields, also from Ohio State. There's a brotherhood there at the university with these alum. And so what he had been through, what this team had been through on Sunday, Chase, I wanted your perspective of what the quarterback room is like. And there's a lot of talk in there, I'm assuming, that's not football. And this was a trying week for a person in Justin Fields.
Yeah, I just think this story is one that maybe a lot of NFL players would want to say and want to tell, and we'll hear the sound later. But Justin Fields in general, just the vulnerability of an athlete, specifically an NFL player, to say that he was talking to his best friend, Jesus, what he was saying, and then on his closet floor crying. And if you lived under a rock or you haven't listened to Diana and James's reporting, it's like, hey, everyone knows what Woody Johnson said. And look, I'm not going to eviscerate him. But if you want to see just one of the craziest, clapbacks to an owner, I think, in history, watch Alex Smith on Sunday Countdown. That embodies what a lot of NFL players think. And pretty much Woody Johnson just comes at Justin and just everyone knows that. But take you into everyone looked at it from a Woody Johnson standpoint then, because Woody Johnson made himself the story. He didn't make Aaron Glenn the story. He didn't make Justin Fields the story. He made himself the story. And that's fine. You're an owner, you're a billionaire. You can do that, right? But when you crap on Justin Fields and you eviscerate him in the media like you do, it can hit really hard. And I'm not just talking about owners. I'm talking about everyone has a phone. Everyone has Twitter. Everyone has Instagram. Everyone has all this social media. And it's so easy for fans that have no idea about the struggles and the hardships and everything else mentally and phically that players go to. We're still playing. They're human beings first. A lot of players, they might find their identity in playing, but a lot of players don't. And you could clearly tell that Justin Fields does not find his identity in playing. And it's just one of those times where honesty and openness and the fact that you might get laughed at, whatever, so many players are so hidden from that because they don't want to come off a certain way. But in reality, I promise you, every single player that I've ever been around has heard just about every single thing that you have said on social media. Whether it's a reporter, whether it's a former player given analyst, whether it's a person in your mom's basement, whether it's a parent, but it is, we act like we don't see it, but it does bother people. And it was just really cool to see Justin Fields acknowledge that. And because he's not in the minority, he's in the majority, but he's the one saying it out loud. So I just thought that was great.
yesterday. I'm praying like crazy, just for a win, and this I'm gonna get pretty vulnerable right here, but this week I kind of I found myself in my closet crying, on the ground, laying down, not because of but not because of the hardships, not because of the troubles. I felt like I was built to handle that, and I was put in place to handle this situation, but in that moment when I was talking to my best friend, how hard it was, and just not wavering faith-wise. I just had gotten a text from my sister and my stepmom, and it was just an encouraging text on just keep going and keep spreading the faith, and they just sent me a link on social media, and I tell you guys all the time that I'm not on social media, so I didn't see it. So that was just it was just a sign from God for me to keep going, and that I'm in the right place. Yesterday I was just praying over and over and over again, like, this is just one win. And but all that to say is that God is real, God is good, and everything that we go through in this life is for a purpose. So yeah.
So to just backtrack on the week, just if you guys remember when we talked from the owners meeting, Woody Johnson had said all that stuff, and I wasn't sure if he meant to say it, right? Because just as you talk about being a human being, right? Like, we're reporters, we're human beings too. And sometimes when you quickly walk up to an owner who maybe doesn't do a lot of media, they don't talk every day the way we see coaches. Some of them aren't that well spoken. So I thought that maybe after he spoke in the lobby that day, that I could grab him later in the afternoon to see if maybe he wanted to kind of talk through some of it. And he did. And unfortunately, he didn't say anything better. And he had a really strong feeling about Justin and the offense. And he has every right to. He owns the team. But to your point, Chase, those words were read and heard by Justin, by his family. And to me, the bigger story is the locker room. Every New York Jet player heard that. And that, I'm going to guess, probably isn't sitting well with any of them, which is why you saw them rally around Justin. So yes, with that, credit for him for being vulnerable in that moment. And I would love to find out if maybe Woody's reached out to Justin since to see if maybe he retracts what he says, or maybe even just apologizes.
I would hope so.
Yeah. Well, listen, for one reason or another, oftentimes a key event can bring a locker room or a team or a head coach with this team together. You never know exactly what that is. And maybe this is it. We'll see what happens moving forward with Aaron Glenn and Justin Fields and the Jets. We have much more moving on. Speaking of that, with Bo Nix, what the Broncos did to the Cowboys at Mile High. We'll break that down next. Chase has some film on Scoop City on a Monday. Welcome back to Scoop City on a Monday. James Palmer, Dianna Russini, Chase Daniel with you. We were kind of curious about Bo Nix and Sean Payton and this offense. Yes, a monster comeback against the Giants the week before, but 3 quarters of essentially just a dud. They've having too many 3-and-outs, maybe some issues with some predictability, maybe moving the ball in the early portions of games was just kind of a struggle. And what did they do from start to finish after maybe an early interception by Bo Nix? They just go off and running, put up 44 points. I believe it's the most points they've scored in the Sean Payton era in Denver. And Bo Nix looked in complete command. Yeah, he was. Just complete command, Chase, from start to finish for the way this offense operated. They ran the ball really, really well. Obviously, he threw the ball well. Some issues downfield have been the case over the last several weeks, but intermediate game was there. What did you see from Bo Nix, as you know this offense so well, better than anybody out there analyzing it, from what we saw from this offense, and did they take a big step? We know the defense, but did they take a big step that they went against this Cowboys defense?
I was just about to say, man, when you play the Cowboys and they're playing zone defense, anyone can take a step forward because that Cowboys defense is so bad. But I thought it started off a little rocky on an RPO and just was like, oh, really just missed the mark. I don't know if the ball slipped or whatever. But after that interception, Man, he was great. He was efficient, specifically in the first half, throwing the football down the field. I mean, average yards attempt over 8.5 yards in attempt, which I think, James, we were talking that probably is the highest that he's had this year. And so that's sort of been I don't know. When I'm watching it, I see different things. But when, people are talking, oh, this Broncos offense, all they do is screens and all they do is throw short and intermediate. I get that. But when Sean Payton gets on a heater, throwing the football, meaning calling and dialing up plays down the field, I just still don't think there's many better because of the way they personnel it, the way they draw it up, the way they're in empty and they allow Bo to control the line of scrimmage. I do think they're really multiple, and they're running the ball a lot better than I've seen a Sean Payton team in a long time. I think the biggest thing is James, you know this all too well because you were at the game, but it's just, can these young receivers, along with Sutton and Ingram, the tight end, can they continue their growth? Because that's what they're going to need. I mean, they look good offensively. We know how good they are defensively, but when you look at Bo Nix, I thought the turning point, I just thought they played really well last week in the fourth quarter. And then he's able to build off of that fourth quarter that he had last week. And then to put a game like this, regardless of who it is, I think that is the story. It's the growth that he's showing. It's the fact that he's starting to own this offense, because you see him multiple times, like calling Mike IDs, meaning like, hey, we're controlling the line of scrimmage. And it's really cool to see a second year player do that. I know he's, for like really old. But it's really cool to see him. He's really smart. Yeah, he's like 82. But yeah, I just thought in general, man, if Bo can play as efficient and they can get the run game and they can throw the football down the field paired with that defense, like, come on now, they're a force to be reckoned with in the AFC.
Yeah, I was starting to worry about Bo a little bit. I wouldn't categorize the start of this season as exceptional, and some of it was probably our own doing because we spend so much time with them and we talk about Bo a lot. And I think the confidence and belief in him has always been there from everyone. There just were some games where I felt like he wasn't asleep. It just took a while to get to the best version of him.
Yeah.
So to almost be reminded yesterday of like, oh yeah, like this is the Bo that this Denver Broncos organization believes in, I think was just good for everybody from top to bottom of just, he's got it. And that they never waver anyway there about him, right? Because they're all in. But instead of a team that just relies on defense every week, it was good to see like, all right, they've got something special there in offense for sure.
Well, but James, before you go, because I know you're there and I want to give you the floor, but Dianna said something really interesting, never wavering or whatever. I get that. Like, he's their guy. Here's something that a lot of people don't understand. Second year quarterbacking is hard because you have so much tape on you from your first year and even the start of the second year, and you're trying to grow, and it's the longest offseason ever, and you finally get a break. So like second year, the sophomore year of quarterbacks can sometimes, as we saw last year, maybe with CJ Stroud and some other guys this year, they're taking a step back. Here's what I like about Bo. He's fought through that. Slum. I'm not saying he's out of it by any means, but he started slow at the beginning of the year, and that's good growth, right? James and Dianna, for where he is continuing to go. Just, can he continue it? I just thought that was a fascinating point that you made.
Yeah, I think there's been some aspects of this offense, my understanding, Chase, that have been a little bit of a struggle to get clicking. I think you're right. There's a book there. He's got to work through it. I think talking to defensive coaches that have faced this team, I thought it was interesting to hear that if they're not running the ball well, some of the stuff that Sean schemes guys open for, they're not concerned by Bo hitting those shots. I'm curious what they mean by that entirely, but it's if Sean is getting guys open and Bo wasn't hitting them for stretches. Now, if that happens and Sean's play calling is obviously there with getting guys open, they think they can really put something together. What I found fascinating, guys, was when I went through that locker room after the game, it was talking to a number of guys going, this is the best week of practice we've had in probably 2 years. This is the best week of practice we've had in some time. I was like, oh, my ears perk up. I go, why? And it was like, it was all Sean. Like, it was, I think he knew what happened against the Giants. He knew what happened in those first three quarters. He knew this was Jerry Jones, and this is the ownership from Arkansas, and his group is the ownership from Arkansas. And he wanted to prove a point. I was told Sean Payton wanted to prove a point in this game. Media access was kind of shut down a little bit. Asks were maybe denied a little bit, and intensity was there. Discipline, the details, the execution during the week. Like, guys were telling me Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all three were outstanding. And now when you saw this offense operate the way it did, yes, the Cowboys defense is atrocious on all three levels. There's really nothing they can hang their hat on. But maybe this is the type of thing you put together and the type of game you put it together to go and do something like this. We have a little bit of all 22 to look at here, Chase, and we don't want to skip over that, even though we're running super heavy here. Let's do that right now and tell me what you see from Bo Nix.
Yeah, this is an empty formation, and I've seen a lot more of empty. I think Bo really likes it. He liked it. Oregon, 3 receivers to the right, you motion over, and you're going to see Bo Nix go up to the line. He's going to give this, hey, check. This play is a play they've been running forever. It's called 52 smash Key West, and smash is a concept at the bottom, but he's able to draw a guy off sides with his hard count, and then he throws a hitch that converts into a go ball to Bryant, and it's just a perfectly thrown football. This was sort of off kilter. This is not supposed to be a hitch that converts. It's supposed to be a hitch that's there, but they're on the same page together, and he runs right by number 26 on the left sideline. I don't think people understand just how difficult it is to not only go up to the line of scrimmage, tell me the play you want to do, signal it, make the mic protection. Okay, we got him offsides. Oh, where's my shot down the field? Okay, he's converting. Let's do that. And then get it up and down before the receiver goes out of bounds. So I thought that was great. And another thing too, James, I mean, you obviously are covering the Broncos more than anyone, and you see them like this team, right? They're 6-2. They are a 2-minute drive away in the Chargers game from winning that game, and then the field goal debacle with the Colts
leverage call.
They could easily be 8-0. Like I get the understanding of like what's happening, but the Colts look like the best team in the AFC, and they should have beat them. And then the Chargers, they're up and down, and it's a division game, and it's a battle, and they were winning most of that game. And then Herbie went, Herbie Hancock mode and just freaking diced them up in the last 2 minutes. They scored 10 points in 2 minutes and 23 seconds. And so, like, I don't get the overreaction when they were, want to do it. It's like, oh my gosh, and they're barely winning. And they're good teams find a way to win. And eventually they're going to break through an offense because you have one of the best play callers in Sean Payton out there. And their defense, we know what that is. And so, Diana, we're around them a lot, and we get it, but they're good. They are a very good, well-coached, well-oiled football machine when they play like this on offense.
Diana, do you think they make a move real quick to get better since they're right there as one of the best teams in the AFC through 8 weeks?
They're definitely making calls. They're looking at tight end. I know that's an area that they want to try to just check out. I think they're good at receiver. It's always the question I get from other teams, like, hey, Broncos looking at receiver, right? And I have yet to talk to a team that the Broncos have called where they're like, do you have a receiver available? So
why tight end?
They obviously think they have a need there, right? I mean, they're not just calling around.
Obviously, but I'm trying to think.
Well, you tell me, is there anything? Because
I like Ingram.
I'll chime in. I think Ingram's good. I think Evan's a good tight end. I think we've seen him put up some serious numbers in the past. My understanding is there's a little bit of a fit issue. Can that be worked out? Possibly. Is that something they feel like it can't be worked out and they're looking at tight end? I think comfort level of his role within the offense is something they're still working on. So perhaps that's part of why they're making those calls. And I think you're right, Diana, with the second receiver thing. Remember, they went and traded Devon Vele, who was second in this team amongst the receivers last year after Cortland Sutton in catches and yards. And they moved him on. And so I guess there is something there to what Diana's saying with they like Troy Franklin and they like Pat Bryant, they like Marvin Mims. It's kind of a revolving door, honestly, at that number 2 spot week to week, the way they do it. And maybe that makes people curious, but maybe that's the way Sean Payton and his groom like to do it. We have to get to Jordan Love going against Aaron Rodgers. And the way that Diana will take this call and the way that Jordan Love played in this game, Chase, if he plays like this and the defense starts to come together and finding Micah's role in it, and he was outstanding once again, this is a team that could find themselves in Santa Clara. Are not enough people paying attention to Jordan Love? What's the vibe you're getting about the way he's playing the position right now?
I think he's one of the most underrated quarterbacks in all the NFL. I don't think people are talking about him enough. I think that, they were starting a little bit slow, and then they have one loss and they have a tie and they have all this stuff. But I mean, you look specifically at the last year games on what he's been able to do offensively, and then you get Tucker Kraft going last night, and you get all these guys, and they're starting to get healthy. I just think he is like, I feel like with Jordan, he's gone in stretches. Like when he's been healthy, the dude's played really well. But what's so cool is just how calm he is at the line of scrimmage, because LaFleur asked him to do a lot. And you see this throw here, which was nuts to Tucker. Like you should have been intercepted, but you go on the road and you outduel, a guy that played there before you and all this stuff. And I just think if he can model this consistency through an entire year, right? Because 2 years ago they were 3-3, and then they went like crazy when they beat Dallas in Dallas, and he played unbelievable, and they gave St. Fran all they wanted in the divisional game or Lions, whatever it was. And then last year he was hurt the whole year, and now he's healthy. Now he's starting to get, in this offense even more. I mean, people don't understand. He's been in the league for a long time. He understands it. I just think he's one of the most underrated guys, and this team is so well coached. Defensively, they're playing better. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they go on a little roll right here.
Yeah, it's been wild. If you exclude that game against the Cleveland Browns where he was sacked 5 times, he's only been sacked 5 times this season. I'd say he wasn't sacked in this game against that highly paid Pittsburgh Steelers defense, which we still have. We had some questions early in the season.
Since we're Scoop City, I figured, trade season, the Titans are trading Roger McCreary to the Rams.
Ooh. Spicy.
We've been telling you guys that the Titans have been open for business pretty much on everyone but Jeffrey Simmons and Cam Ward. And there were a couple teams in on McCreary too. I know there are teams that are looking for corner. The Ravens are a team. The Rams were looking. They got their guy. There's actually another one too that I can't recall at this moment. But either way, McCreary, decent player, makes sense, right? He's got a year left on his deal. And the Rams could use some help. Rams are going for it. Les Snead making some things happen here. So we have another trade here. And again, this is a trade deadline coming up in a little over a week now. A little more than a week.
Yep.
I just don't get a sense it's going to be gangbusters. I just don't. I think there's a lot of fun conversations being had right now. I just don't get this vibe that we're going to be so busy next week right before the deadline. So there you go. So sorry to interrupt, but I figured Scoop City loves this.
No, I think it was perfect. I think it was warranted. I think the interruption was welcomed by Chase and I do think, Dianna, you're right. Going for it from the Rams sense is probably the way to put it, because if you look at the way they value corners, Chase, it's really like we are built off of our defensive line. We are built off of the pressure that we can create up front. We will find guys that can play corner. Like that's kind of been Les Snead's like model in the way that he's approached. For sure. And then when you go and make a trade before the deadline to get even better, I think they're seeing the way Stafford's playing. Go back and watch that episode where Chase is breaking down last week Matthew Stafford and how outstanding he has been. These are all signs pointing to going, hey, we're right here in an NFC that we think we can probably go out and win. All right, we got one more topic to discuss. Maybe not football related, but it's definitely an interest to everybody listening if you got kids. That's coming up next on Scoop City. All right, let's close things out on Scoop City on a Monday. James Palmer, Dianna Russini, Chase Daniel with you. We all have kids, guys. It's Halloween time. What are the rules that you guys impose in your homes about candy? You trick or treat, you get it all, you swap, you trade. I used a pillowcase. That was that was the best way to go, I thought. When I was out there trick or treating, durable, safe, really could carry a lot in there. What does everybody do in terms of the candy? Yeah. I was aggressive out there, Chase. I was out there.
So was I, James. I was elbowing with that. Oh, I remember my pillow sack being so heavy. I don't. Again, it's such a competition.
Used a pillow as well.
Who can get? Yeah. Chase, did he use a pillow sack?
Did he use a pillow?
Like a little pumpkin. Oh,
what
was your favorite candy growing up?
Would you go to 9 houses, Chase? I was out there for hours.
My parents would never let me go crazy.
Hours. James and I do this a lot where I feel like sometimes we're from the same town because we have a lot of similar
Very much so.
upbringings and stories.
Hours.
Well, it is.
Wait, hold on. What would you do with all the candy? Would you eat it? Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Like,
I had every intention of eating all of it.
Just say, realistically, you can't eat all that candy. So we used to have it just sit on the counter for weeks.
Really?
If you have a lot to trade, and then you get the ones with your friends that you like compared to the ones you don't like, and they may like.
Yeah.
So then if you have more to trade, then you can make
that's a good call. So, but to answer your question, James, so we live in a neighborhood in San Diego that doesn't really trick or treat. There's a lot of older families with the kids grown. So we go somewhere and we trick or treat and we go out and, it's fun. We do like a potluck dinner at a friend's house. But when our kids, so we have 3, we have an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 4-year-old. And when they get candy, like you always like to go to the one house that gives the full size candy bars, right? So there's
king size, maybe.
Yeah, the king size. And so when we get back, we just started doing it this past year because our kids were just a little bit too young. We'll get in a circle when we get home and we'll dump every single candy out. Then we'll do like trades, right? Who's trading that? You want this? How do we do that? How do we do that? I'm like, oh, that's great. But I get the dad tax. So I'm getting like 10% of their candy. Like I get to pick the best ones. The dad tax is fully paid. Hillary doesn't like candy. I'm a sweet tooth. And once we get that, then we usually will be like, hey, you get like 5 pieces because like we've had like, our kids, like, first of all, we're out in California, so they just eat insanely healthy. My wife and I are both on that same page. But like when you don't give kids like the real candy that we had growing up, like that Red 40 is rushing through their blood and they act so crazy. Like it's just one of those things that is like, it changes who they are. It's crazy like to me because we have like that. Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like, so we're 5, we might not be the fun family, but hey, you get 5, you can have some today. And then the rest goes into a bag for me. And then literally I'll start munching on it. And I have to throw it out the next day. Because if I don't, then I will eat every single bit of their pieces of candy.
I like you said, we give out 5. We might not be the fun family. No, you're not the fun family. Like, let's just say it straight up. Giving them 5 makes you not the fun family. It's not a might be.
They're so excited for the 5 though. So it's how you position it.
Do? So like what do the teens do these days?
Oh, they're on the move. Like, they are like, it's a sprint from house to house, and it starts with a bigger group and it shrinks as it goes because they get separated. Like then he's got like just 1 or 2 guys that he's with and they're just running from house to house. And then word spreads to the neighborhood because the houses in our neighborhood are very tight together, and word spreads. Somebody's doing king size 3 blocks away. Gotta go. And then everybody's just off.
Do you walkie-talkies
with them? We should. I like to trick or treat them. I've been Indiana Jones 5 years in a row because he carries a satchel, and I fill that with ice cold silver bullets, and I got the music playing, and it is Indiana Jones theme song is following us around while I got a satchel.
You're the fun dad.
Lights. And now that he's gotten older, he's off. He's just gone. And then he'll come back, checking in. Hey, I'm over at Boa. Yeah, they're on the move. There is no slowing them down now. And it is.
How old are you? You have a teenager?
Yeah. I had him when I was 12.
How old are you?
Yeah.
You're
not that young.
You're not 25, bud. Haunted house this weekend.
Too.
That was not a good idea.
You think it'll be a haunted house?
Yeah.
A 3 and 2 year old?
A 4 and 3, and Joey lost his.
Oh, the gosh, they're 4 and 3 now.
Race
Why would
right.
you do that?
And I'm going early.
I don't ever think things through when I do stuff. I'm always like, oh, they'll be fine. And then like Joey's face was awesome. Like I have pictures of it. Like he was horrified. Here's another observation I made about kids. We call it haunted house, scary, like, right? Do you know what little kids use all the time? Spooky.
Yeah.
Like everything house? My kids say is that they're like, oh, that's spooky. That's a spooky house. Is there a monster in bed? That's spooky. That's obvious teachers trying to like.
Spooky season.
Yeah, it's spooky season. Like everything's, mommy, that's spooky.
Spooky.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what they say when they describe
spooky episode. What? How dare you? Wonderful Monday, everybody. Let's do this again, huh? How about that? Yeah, spooky. A spooky Monday. Is that what we're gonna go by?
Yeah.
I like it. This is a spooky Scoop City. Ooh, that's a lot on the tongue. Okay. Love it. See you guys later.
Thanks for watching Scoop City. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment. New episodes of Scoop City drop every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.